Hello everyone, Impiator here, and welcome back to my newcomer's guide for Elden Ring. This is part 6. So in the last episode, we continued exploring, and we completed the Weeping Peninsula and the Caelid maps. We've unlocked a variety of early game items. We also ended up visiting the Round Table Hold for the first time. And we ended the episode by going to the Murkwater area, where we fought Nerigis with the help of the NPC Yura. And then we ended up going into the Murkwater Cave where we fought Patches. I ended up letting him live, and I also bought Margit's shackle from him, which is going to be used in the boss at the end of this episode. Now, while it may not seem obvious, these early episodes have established this game's primary rhythm. Exploration has yielded a variety of gear options. We've also gotten a number of upgrade items for our gear. We've also gotten some golden seeds and sacred tears in order to expand our healing capabilities. And the sites of grace that we've unlocked at this point in each area are pointing to the story goals that are in each area. Now, if the bosses that await prove too difficult, we've also unlocked a number of side areas to gain more levels and gear. Before we make our first attempt at Margit, though, there are a few topics I want to bring up. First, this mirror behind us is in the same room as Fia. And if you approach it, you can apply cosmetics, which basically just allows you to change everything about your character, with the exception of your starting class and your keepsake. And I've pretty much come up with the mental image that I have at this point of what I'm after for my character, which is basically going to be a female assassin who uses bleed damage and double daggers, including the Reduvia. Now, one of the best aspects of this game is that every weapon category is viable for completing the story, so you can build around almost any weapon in the game. Be aware, however, that PvP is a different animal and has a much more narrow scope. Second, upgrading your gear at an anvil like we've been able to do up to this point does limit us to +3. If you want to get beyond +3, you'll have to talk to Hugh over here, who is our blacksmith. In addition, to get your weapons beyond +3, you do have to have the next level up of smithing stones. So we have quite a few of the base smithing stones. However, once we want to go from 4 to 6, or 4 to 5, then 5 to 6, we're going to have to get the smithing stones too. And we'll basically continue to get higher versions of these smithing stones. And then because I want to upgrade the Reduvia, I'm also going to have somber smithing stones. These are used for any weapons that are actually named in the game. Lastly, Gideon has opened up his room, and you can also talk to him in order to progress his story.
And you would do stand with those who follow the guy who so, and you.
So he'll be less of a jerk once we start making some progress in the game world. So before we head off to our first major boss of the game, we're going to tackle a few quick dungeons in order to grab a few final items so I can pad out this episode and hopefully get a little closer to having the level requirements for the gear I want to use. In addition, I'm at level 14 right now, which is way off the 20 to 25 recommendation for this boss. So hopefully I can get there a little bit closer. So we're going to head back to the Murkwater Cave, and we're going to exit it. And from here, we're going to head north. I actually marked roughly where it was on the map, but there is up there another site of grace. So we're going to unlock that. And then we're going to jump back down here and head to a mini dungeon, one of the catacombs. It's a very quick dungeon. In fact, the most of the early game catacombs are very small and can be completed in just a few minutes. So we'll drop down here and then head back. Basically going further north and then west. And here's our entrance to the first catacombs that we're actually going to finish. So it's worth mentioning there are a number of these imp enemies, and they often are going to hide. These enemies hit really hard with bleed damage, so you want to be on your defensive with these types of enemies. They have a combo that they will typically do as they approach you, and you want to make sure that you don't try to do a guard counter against the combo until the final hit of the combo. Otherwise, though, what I generally recommend doing is shooting them in order to get their attention. However, there is one off to the side here. I'm going to go ahead and kill him first. And that usually gets this one to come down. So there's actually another one up there. Here's the combo. And there's where you want to do your follow-up. There's another one down right here. If he hits you on the way down, he will break your posture, almost certainly. And then these are going to be Glovewort. So Glovewort in this game is another crafting item, and it is actually used to increase the level of your spirit ashes. We will need to progress the story of Roderica. She is the woman in the red outfit that we met whenever we first picked up the jellyfish ashes at the Stormhill Shack. And once we complete part of the Stormvale Castle area, she will actually move to the Round Table Hold. At that point, she will help us by upgrading our spirit ashes. So definitely want to grab every one of these that you see. So you can see all the deaths here. We're gonna basically get through here a lot easier though. So as you get closer, these enemies are gonna come towards you. So use this opportunity to get them killed with the traps that are here. So another one right there. And this is the shortest of these because this basically opens up the path to the boss door, which is down here. However, there are some more of these things here, so we're going to go ahead and convince them to come our way. And there's another one right there. Man, he's pretty far away from me. I was thinking I was going to avoid him. Alright, grabs the Ghost Glovewort, and then we're going to head down. So the boss that we're about to face in here is not a very difficult boss. However, he does hit pretty hard. He has two, I would say, dangerous attacks. He has a attack where he's going to jump into the air and then slam down. You can actually knock him out of the air with a well-timed attack. However, the other attack that he has is basically where he's going to whip around his weapon. He basically has two gigantic hammers that are attached end on end by a long chain, and he'll rotate that around and kind of swing it at you. So, long story short, I'm going to go ahead and swap out my skeletal militiaman ashes, and that's because the way that this enemy's chains work are often going to kill the skeletal militiamen whenever they're on the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and do the wolf ashes. And then pretty much just a normal flask of crimson tears should be fine. Our wolves are going to be able to do the bulk of the work in order to stun this enemy. And that's going to do it for this fight. We've got the Banished Knight Ingval Spirit Ashes now, so we can get another summon out of that. In addition, we are in a catacombs, and anytime you're in a catacombs, there's going to be basically a tree kind of at the end here, part of the Erd tree. It's worth mentioning that there are certain items that will pop up near here, so as you're wrapping out one of these bosses, make sure to pick up the items that are on the ground if you see any. In addition, there may be chests in here too, beyond just what you get from the boss itself. So make sure you pick up all the items. A lot of the times, for example, you will see root resin, which can be used to craft fire grease. This will add fire to your weapons. Otherwise, though, we're going to go ahead and return to the beginning of the dungeon. And I'll go ahead and grab a level up. I'm actually going to level up into Dexterity, Arcane, and Strength. Dexterity and Arcane, my goal is going to be to get those up to level 13 for both of them. Strength, I'd like to get up to level 12. That's going to allow me to equip the shield that I currently have without having to worry about the stamina loss that I'm taking with it right now, because I don't actually have the requirements in Strength to wield it effectively. But I'm going to start with Dexterity. And I'm actually pretty close to another level up. Let me pop a golden rune. Need a little over 100 more. We'll do one of these. This is 200. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to head for a couple of low-hanging fruit bosses. We've got one up here, and we've got one right here. Both of them are golems, and they're both really easy to fight. We're going to head over to the Saints Bridge first, and then we're going to head north from here. So you might recognize this area. This is where we fought, I'm sorry, not where we fought, where we rescued Alexander. However, we're going to go back a bit because we're going to climb up the other side this time. So there are golems in both places that I marked on the map. And they're both pretty easy to knock down and kill. In fact, if you didn't feel confident in the last fight, you might consider fighting these two bosses first. Because they should be super easy. So you're going to see him over there. He is on the ground. I'm going to two-hand my weapon and basically give him a good bash in the head. So that's already half of his health. When he stands up, we'll be able to hit him in the leg and knock him down pretty easy. And then we can get a critical on him, which will do a whole bunch of damage. So that'll give us another 1,000 or so. And then over here we have a lance talisman. So this is going to improve damage of weapons while you're on horseback. So next we're going to be heading over to here, kind of just north of the Stormfoot Catacombs. We're not actually going to go to the Stormfront Catacombs though. Stormfoot Catacombs, sorry, because it's a little actually higher level than some of the other stuff we have here. But I'm going to go to the Stormhill Shack and then head south from here. Alright, so it's nighttime. I'm going to go ahead and pass the time because I don't want to have to deal with bats during this fight. So we'll do till noon. If you come here at nightfall, there will be bats in this fight. And they can be a real pain. Alright, next we're going to head to the Groveside Cave. This is one of the places that we unlocked in a previous episode. So grab a level 13 for Dex, and then we're going to head down. So this place has wolves in it. There is a white wolf right there. He deals a little bit more damage. We're going to sneak as best as we can. So down here, by the way, is the boss door. We're going to go ahead and clean up this area, though, if you are comfortable with cleaning up this area. So we got a cracked pot. They're down here. Some crafting items. Another golden rune. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and head for the boss. So again, these early dungeons are very quick for the most part. So they can get us some early, very quick levels. So this enemy has a few attacks that are dangerous. That is kind of a dangerous attack. And then he's got this multi-hit combo that he'll sometimes do. That. Otherwise, though, we'll go ahead and bring in our summons. And that is the Beastman Faramazula. So we're going to get another talisman for this. This is the Flame Drake Talisman. Boosts fire damage negation if you're against a fire-based boss, which we are going to be against fire-based bosses, not immediately, but soon. Probably the next several episodes. But with that, that's going to wrap out this dungeon too. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Wisp here. And I need 2,100. I have 1,700, so... So now that I've gotten 13 for Dex, I'm going to get 13 into Arcane. And from here, we're actually going to head to the Coastal Cave. This is actually where Bach has moved to. So again, we stepped foot in here previously. So this place is kind of dark, so we'll go ahead and pull out this. There are some of these beastmen down here. There's a higher level beastman right here. If you feel comfortable with it, jump in, give him backstab. Then we're going to go over here. There are a couple more enemies up here. And again, like before, very quick and simple dungeon. This, however, is our first opportunity to summon a cooperator. So this is an NPC that you can summon. However, there's a caveat to it. Whenever you summon an NPC into the game, or if you summon another player into the game, the boss will actually gain more health. In addition, we're going to lose about 25% of the runes that we're going to get from killing this boss. So if that's something that you're worried about, then maybe consider attempting the fight without. However, this is our first playthrough. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to say summon all you can in the game to make the game easier for yourself. We will always have ways to get more runes. That's not going to be a problem in the least. Otherwise, though, let's go ahead and summon. And usually what I like to do, I'll start his summon, and then I'm going to sneak around the side here. And make sure I'm two-handing. And I'm going to try to get in a stun lock to this guy. Unfortunately, he stepped away. So you might get lucky. If you do, you might be able to kill one of them before the other one even starts attacking. Otherwise, this is the reason that I generally prefer to have help in this fight. Otherwise, these guys just have lots of just attacks. They also have quite a bit of stamina. So it takes quite a bit to get them stun locked. These guys, I don't usually recommend a strategy, just don't die. So we got a couple of items. We're actually going to want to return those items to Bach. However, grab all the items that are in this room. Now, if you're having struggles with this fight, what I would try to do is I would come over here, sneak in, and then try to kill the one that's sitting here. Or at least get in a few heavy swings and stun him. If you're able to do that, get him to follow you back towards the entrance. Because the other one is actually sleeping normally over there. So as long as you don't make too much noise, the other one won't wake up and you'll be able to tackle them one at a time. Unfortunately, the NPC that we summoned here almost always seems to get both of their attention. So we're going to go ahead and progress. Now, there is a wisp there for us to get out of here. However, I'm actually going to continue down this path and show you where it leads. And there are 3 of these beastmen enemies along the way. So if you want to come back through here with some fresh health, do that. Otherwise, they shouldn't be too difficult. So now we are on the other side of this ravine here. Or, I don't know, river. I don't know what to call this. Anyway, we're going to head south and go up this path. I'm going to go and grab some of these guys so that I can make some more arrows. Let's see, I need another 1,000. I use 2 of these, which are 400 apiece. And 1 more of these. Anyway, come into here, and this is the Dragon Communion. We'll actually run into several of these in the game. However, the idea here is that whenever you kill a dragon boss, it's going to drop a dragon heart. You can bring the dragon heart to these Dragon Communion locations and pick up some really interesting incantations. They generally require faith and arcane. However, they can be super powerful in the right hands. Otherwise, though, we have not yet killed any dragons, so we're going to go ahead and just go out back. Kind of follow the path off to the side here. Grab a great dragonfly head. And then as you keep following the path, eventually you're going to hear a scarab. Now this scarab is unique. It does not have a... Oh, get back here. There we go. So it has a somber smithing stone in it instead of what we have usually come to expect. And then down here there is another normal smithing stone. Level 2. And with that, we're going to head back to Bach because we're actually going to give him the sewing needle stuff that we picked up.
Oh, wait, you got it.
So he's going to be shocked at your kindness.
What made my mum, and that's I always thank you very. I always.
Anyway, he actually does alterations against your gear, so you can actually do alterations yourself too, but you can do them for free with him. So that's a consideration. So we'll beat him again a little bit later. For now, though, we got one more place we're going to go, and that is going to be the Seaside Ruins, and then we're going to head towards Margit. When you get over here, turn around, and you're basically going to want to get down there, and you notice there is a spirit spring, so we're going to jump into it. Easiest way to get down here. Now this enemy right here is no slouch, but he does drop an Ash of War, a really interesting one that does gravity-based magic. So Ash of War, Gravitas. It's not actually, by the way, what we are here for. We are actually here for the item that we first marked on our map. So you might remember getting to the Cave of Knowledge here. We marked this on the map because we couldn't get access to it at the time. We've now picked it up. And what this is a talisman. This is actually the Howling Drake talisman, which negates some holy damage. And we're actually going to be facing off against Margit, who does holy damage. So it's going to be kind of up to you to decide. I'm going to go and switch to it, though. And then hopefully I will be able to grab enough levels between now and Margit to utilize my Reduvia. So I'm going to go ahead to the Church of Ella, and I'm going to go ahead and level up my dagger as well as my Reduvia. Looks like I can level it up one more. Let me go ahead and pop a few more of these. And I am so close. Hopefully I can get one more into Arcane by the time we reach there. Otherwise, I'll probably just use some items in order to make it. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and also mix Wondrous Physic. Here we have the ability to restore half of total HP in a mixed Physic. We can also temporarily boost stamina. I'm going to recommend the cracked tier, though, because if you like to do charge attacks like I do, then that'll benefit you. But it's kind of up to you. You're going to combine two of the tiers that you picked up in order to get both abilities. And now we're going to head towards the Storm Hill Shack. And we're going to go fight Margit. So we're going to follow this path. If you want to kill the enemies here for more levels, more runes, go ahead and do it. I'm going to do it. Hey, we got a Brat Shield this time. So there's another Scarab up here. Be aware, though, that if you keep going forward much past the Scarab, you're going to be hit by an enemy shooting a ballista at you. So I'm going to try to keep this enemy kind of off to the side here. So I'm going to go off to the left side here and go around the enemies. So there's lots of enemies here. I'm just going to basically run in and run towards the Grace that's in here. If you want to tackle all the coming enemies, you certainly can. Otherwise, rest quickly at the Lost Grace. Okay. So we've done that. That'll respawn the enemies in their original locations. This is the entrance to the boss. So you kind of have a few different decisions to make here. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and equip my fire grease. You should have enough at this point to craft more. I'll craft a couple more. But we're going to be using that to kind of add some additional attack damage to this boss. And then we also have the ability to summon. This is Sorcerer Roger, who is a sorcerer, obviously. And he'll do glintstone magic against this enemy. But remember, you're going to be sharing 25% of your spoils from your runes. So you'll lose that. But that's kind of up to you. We're going to get 12,000 in total if we kill him without help. Otherwise, you'll get 9,000. So, in addition to that, we're going to want to equip Margit's Shackle. And the way that this fight's going to work is we're going to step in, and I'm going to go ahead and equip Fire Grease once I step in. And then I'm going to summon my wolves. And then I'm going to use Margit's Shackle. And I'm basically going to try to do some damage to him really quickly. And hopefully I can do a stun lock on him for a good chunk of his health. And then after he finally gets back up, we want to wait and then use the shackle again on him. So the shackle only works twice, and once you get the boss below 65%, he will transition to his phase 2. So in his first phase, most of his attacks are going to consist of his staff, as well as his holy daggers. Any attacks, by the way, that glow yellow are going to hit with holy damage, so that's why we have the Alec Drake Talisman. So one of his attacks will be to throw a single dagger and then jump away. Sometimes he'll throw 2, especially when you are trying to heal. And if you're in his face for too long, he'll attack with a dagger as part of a combo. He also has a leaping slash where he hangs in the air for a long time, and that can be punished by rolling underneath him. And then you can swat him pretty easy with that. He also has an overhead swing that will have a very long tail. He'll just kind of stand there. And depending on how far away you are, he'll either dash towards you and slash at you twice with his staff, or he'll slam his staff into the ground. If you're able to dodge either of these, or both types of these attacks, that'll leave him open for some serious damage too. If you attack him from behind, by the way, he will end up using his tail, though it doesn't have a lot of range. And during this first phase, again, we can use the Margit Shackle twice, and we should, again, try to use it the second time right as he's hitting 65%. And if you are timing it well enough, you might be able to get this boss down to 40% of his health or so before he even has the chance to transition to his second phase. And in his second phase, he's going to pull out a Holy Hammer. And his attacks are going to change up a little bit. He's going to get more aggressive as well. And that's going to be a little bit harder to deal with. Probably his easiest attack to work with, though, is going to be whenever he slams his weapon into the ground, the hammer. You can basically dodge into that, get a swing or two, and then you want to dodge away because he's going to usually follow that up with a combo. In addition, if you're using a shield that can parry, all of the attacks that he does that involve his staff can be parried. However, none of his other attacks can be parried. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm sitting at level 19. I'm going to go ahead and grab one more level so I can get my arcane up to 13. So I need 2,600. And now I'll be able to go ahead and equip Reduvia as my primary. My +3 dagger is my secondary. And I still have a medium load with this configuration, even though I also have the short bow and my torch equipped. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop into this boss. I'm going to go ahead and summon for help. And generally, I'm going to do this every time we have the opportunity to. I'm also going to make sure that we've progressed all of the quests in order to make that a possibility. So I'm going to go ahead and equip Fire Grease as we step into here. And then once the cutscene triggers, I'll go ahead and equip it. Alright, so let's go ahead and attack him. Use Margit Shackle. Alright, we did not get a chance to use it twice, but that's okay.
Warrior blood must thy
Alright, he's dead. Now, Sorcerer Rogier also died. No big deal, though. That's not going to affect him in the real world. And in exchange for beating this boss, we got the Talisman Pouch. Shut up, Margit. Shut up, Margit. Anyway, now that we got that, we now have a second slot for talismans. So we can use that opportunity to equip a new one. So I'll go ahead and equip the green turtle talisman. Be aware, though, by the way, that these do weigh a little bit, so keep that in mind with your load. I'm going to try to keep us to a medium load for this. Otherwise, though, that's going to do it for this boss fight, and I think that's going to do it for this episode. So I fought this boss at level 20. You probably, since you're not playing as the Wretch, you're probably sitting at somewhere between 20 and 26, I would say. So you should have an easier time even than I did. So take that into consideration. Otherwise, that should have been a pretty easy fight with the help of both your summons as well as Roger. From this point, though, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be tackling a lot of the side content here, and as well as the side content here in the Weeping Peninsula. Because the castle that we're about to go into is pretty high level at this point, and we want to be prepared. So we're going to kind of start to clear out all the optional content that we can at this phase in the Limgrave area as well as the Weeping Peninsula area. But with that, I think that's going to do it, everybody. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.